Well, it's an honour to be here, Gerardo, with you and Adriana. And I just wanted to ask you a few questions, mainly for the people of Britain. We all saw the images of your return, of you and your brothers to Cuba, and the wonderful emotion of the Cuban people. But can you tell us a bit how it felt for you coming back to your homeland and the reception you received from the Cuban people?
It felt great in one word. We were very, very moved that day and very emotional. You have to realize that we spent 16 years dreaming of that day and waiting for that day. And when he finally came through, we couldn't believe it. Everything happened so fast that it was an amazing experience for us, even hard to describe. We moved to one place to the other very quick, and the night before we were sleeping in the cell. The next morning we were greeting Raul Castro and our family, and it happened like that. So it was unbelievable. And
the reception of the Cuban people in the neighborhood?
Oh, that's still going on. Everywhere we go, we have a huge reception by our people. It doesn't matter if it is a school, a storage, everywhere we go, restaurant, on the street, any corner. Sometimes I go to a place and I believe, oh, they didn't recognize us. And suddenly, oh, look at that, one of the five! Ah! But it's a lovely experience. After so many years, I mentioned once to somebody that somebody asked me, do you still think about the prison or have dreams of the prison? And I said, when I get back to Cuba, the first 3-4 hugs I received from my people, I forgot about the prison, and we don't think about that anymore. We're just receiving a lot of love and trying to give back love too.
Thank you. I know you've been asked many times, but we have to ask about Gema.
Wow.
And how is she, and how has that been for you coming back, and then a few weeks later you have a new baby?
She's great. She's great. She's a light in our lives. Both Ariana and myself and all the family is very happy, and Cuba is very happy too. The other day they showed some photos of her on some websites, and they finished up in Cuban's TV noticiero newscast. So a lot of people on the street are calling us and say, hey, I saw the photos, she's beautiful. She's a lovely girl, and every dad would tell you that, but in this case, she is for real. She doesn't bother too much. She's very, very well behaved, doesn't cry too much. She's lovely, and beautiful as well. We are both very happy, very, very happy.
You should be very proud. She's a gorgeous, gorgeous baby.
Appreciate it, thanks.
We had many visits from your families, from the wives, from the mothers, and from the daughters, and during the campaign for your release. And women played a very strong role in that campaign. What do you say about the women in your life? The Adriana, Olga, Elizabeth, Rosa, all the mothers, Irma, Magali, Myrta, etc. They're very strong women. You should be proud.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. As you know, some of them, like my mother, they couldn't live to enjoy this day, but still they are present. My mother is present here every day, and I tell you, our mothers, our wives, our sisters and daughters, they play a big role in the campaign, and they moved people that otherwise could have been moved. People that even people that were not friendly with Cuba or not political at all, when they heard through our wives, through our mothers about this tragedy, they were moved, and many of them were involved thanks to them. As I used to tell Adriana, she's my best lawyer. And I believe that all the women in our families, they were in fact good lawyers for us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just a question again?
Shall I ask it again? Okay. So many factors contributed to your release and your return back to Cuba, but one constant factor was international solidarity across the globe. How important was that solidarity for you, for your brothers, during your time in prison, but also now and in bringing you back home?
I would say extremely important. You know, right now that we are already here, some people, friends, have said, well, you know, we fought very hard, and but at the end, what brought you to Cuba was a political solution. But I'm not agree on that. I believe that, of course, things happen in a way, but for the things to happen in that way, you must have a long work that contributed to that. Let me explain myself. I don't believe that there could have been a solution like it was if the five were five unknown people that nobody cared about. And I believe the solidarity movement made a difference. But even if that weren't the case, there is something very important that sometimes people don't realize, that when you talk about solidarity, you can not only see it in terms of results. You have to think in the everyday, for example, of the everyday of our lives in prison. When we woke up in a cell, in the prison cell, every single day for 16 years or 15 or any time, you have to have something to think about, something to encourage you, to give you strength to resist that day. No matter, it don't matter, don't think about tomorrow or yesterday. You have to face whatever is coming to you that day. And sometimes that whatever was complicated, like seeing somebody getting killed or getting shut down or being almost involved in a fight. Many things that happen in every prison. You have to have something that tells you, hey, you have to resist. You have to be strong. And that something many times was the knowledge that we have comrades like you out there fighting for us. Every morning, when I told myself, all right, wake up, you have another day, I used to tell myself, and you have another day in which you have to be strong, in which you have to resist, because you are here representing a country, and you cannot let down the lot of people that are out there fighting for you in many countries. And on that regard, the solidarity was very, very important. For example, because I'm talking about this, but there are concrete examples that I could tell you. When I was taken to the hall in Lampo, it was a basement below the hall, the regular hall, and they used to call that the cage. And I was in a cell with 2 doors, lights on the 24 hours a day, only with my underwear, no book to read, nothing. I didn't know whether it was day or night. When somebody flushed the toilet in the upper cell, dirty water used to run through my wall. And the thing that encouraged me, the thing that stopped me from getting crazy in such conditions, was the knowledge that we were counting on people like you that were fighting for us out there. And not only the Cuban people and the Cuban government, but friends like you around the world. When I read the stories about old friends going to manifestations in the very cold nights or days, under the rain and snow. People that even with economic problems, they get pick up flowers to sell the flowers to collect funds for our cause. That encouraged you a lot, and that gives you strength. And it was a strength we needed to resist for 16 years. So when you talk about solidarity, you cannot only see in terms of results, but in how you help us every single day, and it was a lot.
Thank you. Some people in Britain, and indeed in the world, after the announcements of December the 17th, and of course your release, they think the blockade is over and the campaign doesn't need to exist anymore, the situation is normal. What do you think about the blockade and the impact of the blockade and the need for international solidarity?
First, the blockade is still there, and I know they have been talking about easing this or that, and one day we hope that it will be lifted, but it's pretty much there still. And we have to keep denouncing it, and we have to keep fighting for the blockade to end, because it is a unique case in human history, what is happening with the blockade and the Cuban people. And it's something that we have to keep denouncing. But also, all this new environment, all these new airs that we can breathe, and the announced change in the US and Cuba relations, that of course we agree with, because it's about time that this kind of war situation cease. It's about time for the Cuban people to be able to live in peace, and it is about time for the US to admit that Cubans, as every other country or people in the world, have the right to choose their own path. But all this new environment represents some dangers to our people. This new situation represents, it's not like from now on the US is gonna admit that we Cubans have the right to choose whatever path we want. It's not like that. The imperialism doesn't change from one day to another. And they just, in my opinion, they're just gonna try to see, all right, we couldn't destroy the Cuban Revolution during 50 years through the blockade and through this and that aggression and through the terrorism. Let's see how we can do it. On that regard, we're gonna have to face many new dangers, and of course, we're still gonna need solidarity from our friends around the world, and we're still gonna need help from our friends around the world, and we're still gonna need support from our friends around the world. Probably even more now, because there are gonna be many fake friends. So it's going to be a moment for our real friends to stay right there with us. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You talk about challenges for Cuba, but just 2 weeks ago the United States called Venezuela a threat to US national security. What is your response to the United States' aggression against Venezuela now? First,
as an observer, I couldn't understand it. Probably Obama was ill-advised by somebody or something, because he's forgive my expression, but he's stupid. You know, it's something that even international observers couldn't understand. But on the other hand, I believe that the US have to live out of confrontation with somebody. It's the way that system works. They have to pick a fight with somebody. And since they are somehow easing a little bit tensions with Cuba, maybe they want to have it now with Venezuela, right? It's my personal opinion. It's just what my first thought about it. The fact is that for the imperialism, we are just the bad chips that get away from the herd, and they will never forgive that. They will never let us be. So they have to punish Cuba, and they have to punish Venezuela for that. No matter what the rhetoric is, no matter how they change a little bit here, a little bit there, that system has that inside. It's something very deep, and from one day to another, they won't say, all right, let's be good neighbors now. That's why I said that we have to remain vigilant on that. And they will never forgive the Venezuelan revolution the same way they will never the Cuban revolution. That's what I believe is happening now.
In terms of the five, and my own government, the British government, are still, if you like, punishing the five by denying a visa to René González and all of the five to come to Britain, and that's despite 28 members of Parliament issuing the invitation. The case is still going through the legal system in our country, and one day we hope that René and yourself and all of the brothers will be able to come to our country. Would you accept that invitation?
Of course I will. You know, probably the country, or not probably, I believe the country from where I received the biggest amount of letters through the 16 years in prison was Britain. And we have very, very good friends there all around Britain. And I would like to be there. I would like to know them.
We will share this video, so we'd like to share it widely across Britain. And do you have a particular message for people young and old, the individuals, the trade unions, the parliamentarians who supported your case from Britain? It would be nice if there was a message for them.
I would like to say so many things that I don't think you're going to have enough time there, but through all these years, our families were there several times, particularly Adriana, my wife, and she always let me know about the love they received there and about how well they were treated there and all the support and all the solidarity that they received there. And only for that, now I would like to say thank you very much. But I was myself a witness of that, as I said, through many letters that I constantly received from there. I used to read Cuba-US magazine, and I was very well informed about all the solidarity work that you guys do there. And I was moved so many times by so many gestures coming from people of Cuba Solidarity Campaign all around the country, that for real, it's not only that my English is not very good, but it's also that I couldn't have enough words in any language to thank you enough for all the work that you have done through all these years. And also I would like to say that you are an example to friends in other countries that have been very supportive of our cause, but you are an example of organization too. And you are an example of how when you set a goal and work hard towards that goal, it can be achieved. And you are an example in so many ways that we really admire that, and we really appreciate everything that you have done for us.
Well, it's lovely to hear your words, and I know the people in Britain will be very, very pleased to hear those words, and we will.
I haven't mentioned, because as I said, we'll have enough time, but I'm talking about the unions, I'm talking about Cuba Solidarity Campaign, I'm talking about every single friend there that encouraged us with their support, and that kept struggling no matter what, kept struggling through all the years, because you know that there are friends or some other countries where this particular year you could feel you receive a lot of letters from there, but then not anymore, and then from another country. But in the case of Britain, it was constant, continual, a very strong solidarity movement. Of course, we appreciate all the solidarity we receive from all around the world, but I'm just telling you that in your case, it was outstanding.
Well, Gerardo, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to pass on behalf of everybody in Britain.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Your thanks, or our thanks to you, because you were also an inspiration.
Well, you made
for all
this,
of us.
You made this day possible. All this solidarity that we are living today is in a good way thanks to the work of all of you. So to every of you watching this, I say one word, thank you.